All right, shalom, shalom. It's Brother Yatazak here of Israel. Before I get started, I'd like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Mikakwadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Today we're going to go into Micah chapter 3, going into the Hebrew. So Lord willing, you're edified. Giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Mikakwadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Let's get right into it, right? First, let's look at the header for Micah chapter 3, which says, rulers denounced. And let's get right into it. Lord willing, you're edified. Micah chapter 3 and verse 1. And I said, hear now, you heads of Jacob, and and um and magistrates or judges of the house of Israel. Is it not unto you to know unto judgment? Wa Amar Shamaywa Na'a Ra'ashia Yaikwab Wa Kwataza Yanya Bayath Yasha'ala Halal Lakam La Dayath Atha Ha Mashapat. Right? Because that word Kwatazayan means magistrate. Right? So the Lord is talking about, right, the heads of the house of Israel, right? Which says, verse 2, who hate the good and love the evil, who strip off their skin from upon them, and that which remaineth from upon them from their bones, which is Shana'aya, Tawab, Wa Ahabya, Rai, Gazaliah, Aram, Iwaram, Ma'al Yaham, Wa Sha'aram, Ma'al Itazam Thum. Right? So the Lord is speaking onto the heads, right? Even, right, in these latter days, you have these other camps, right? IUIC changing their breakdowns, right, which is confusion, right? Yahweh Shem Shai is not the author of confusion, like scriptures say, right? And like it says here, who strip their skin from off them, right? Because that's figurative for this truth, right? Which is a true understanding, right? Which is your covering, right? You have other scriptures that say, right, they take covering in the covering of Egypt, right, and not of the Lord, and so on and so forth. So that's what it's talking about, these false pastors, right? Not just in the truth, out of the truth, right? Because, right, what we're doing is pursuant to Ezekiel chapter 37, right, which is the valley of dry bones, right, which they receive when they come into the understanding, right. They have the skin, the sinews, all things come together, right. But you got to have the main ingredient, which is right, the divine inspiration, right. You got to receive it, right, which is not for all to receive, right. So that is that skin that these other, right, taken away from the word, taken away from the particular breakdowns, and so on and so forth, right? Which is why it says I war, meaning gazal, meaning to strip. I war, meaning skin from upon them. Sha'ar, meaning that which remaineth unto them from upon their bones, right? Atazim, right, meaning their bones, right? Atazamath, right? Atazamath, Atazam thumb, right, meaning their bones. Because you have particular doctrines that, right, that present to you in the form of the truth, right, but it's mixed with lies, right? You have particular books, right? They may mention, right, the children of Israel. They may mention, for example, Josephus, secular history, right? But it's not all there. The accounts aren't all there, right? You got to have spiritual discernment, right? And that's also what these false pastors do, right? They make it sound good, right? Particular camps, right? They got the fringes, they got the staffs, right? They're right bringing out precepts like it's no end, right? But the form of the truth that they're presenting you is their own way that they made. Scriptures say that there is one way, right? That is to the shepherd's fold, right? He who climbeth another way is a hireling, right? A deceiver, right? Like it says in the book of Revelation, right? I tried them that said they are apostles and they are not, right? But are of the synagogue of Satan, right? Because that just means adversary, right? Even the scriptures say that, right, for your they are your enemies for the gospel's sake, right? So just because you got the fringes, you got men out here professing the truth, it's not the way, right? So this is what it says, verse 3, in which devour the uh, which remaineth of my people. Wa ashar akal wa sha'ar amya, and their skin from upon them is stripped, right? Wa iwaram ma'al yaham ha pash pashiat wa, right? The root word is pashat, meaning to strip, right? And to their bones, which are crushed and spread out like the, according to which that which is in the pot. Wa'atha itazam tayaham patazach wa parashwa ka ashar basayar, and according to the flesh in the midst of a cauldron. Waka bashar bathawak qualachath. Let's look at that word patazach, which is in verse 3. Salakia. Turn this off real quick. That word patazach, I may have to check my notes. It says to break. I know it has another connotation, so let me just look that up real quick. It says to break forth, right? That's what it means to break forth, to break, right? Another example of to break is parar, right? But that actually means to shatter, right? It says, and the skin from upon them is stripped into their bones. It's broken and spread out, according to which that which is in a pot, sayar, and according to the flesh in the midst of a cauldron, which that word for cauldron is qualachath. Let's look at that word real quick. In the Blue Letter Bible, that word is Strong's H7037, qualachath.
Strong's H 7037. Kalachat. Kalachat.
It says cauldron. That word is cauldron. Which is pot, kettle, cauldron. Let's see if I have anything in the notes. It just means a cauldron. Which the King James Bible says that they flay their skin from off them. Right? You take whatever is left. Right? For example, I believe the Book of Timothy says that they didn't capture silly women laden with sins. Because this is what you have in these particular churches, right? Adultery, right? You eating unclean things, right? Swine's flesh, right? All these things which Paul the Apostle said, right? To pronounce a blessing over it, meaning pray over your food. But he said the things that are good, right? That's talking about lawful, clean foods, right? Food without, right? What do you call it? Foods that cause gout, right? That have, right, particular sicknesses on it, right? That cause particular sicknesses, right? But anyways, I went over that, right? So let's just get that. 1 Corinthians 9:14. In the same way, the Lord has commanded that those who preach the gospel should receive their living from the gospel, right? Which did not Yahweh Shai open up the book of Isaiah, right? Which is the Old Testament, so called, and he said, right, this is the gospel, right? So that is, right, and you read in the last book of Isaiah, right, that those that sit behind the garden eating swine's flesh will be consumed, right? Which is what you have in these particular churches. You have these gatherings, get-togethers, right? Uh, um, which they follow the Lord in right, in word and not in deed, right? But that's not the precept I was looking for, but that's good enough for now. Micah chapter 3 verse 4. Then they shall cry out unto the Lord, and he will not answer them, and he shall hide his face from them in the time that is, which reads, Az Yazakwa al Yahweh Wala'a Ya'ina Atham Wayasatar Panyawa Maham Ba'itha Hahaya, according to um, which is the evil of their doings. Ka'ashar Ha Rayawa Ma'alal Yaham. Right? But you read about that in the book of Luke, right? They're 2/3 are going to see the chariot. They're gonna have that charagma in their right hand or in their forehead. They're gonna see the chariots. They're gonna see Yahweh Shai. They're gonna say, "Lord, Lord, open up unto us," meaning the chariots, right? And they're not gonna get a response in that day. Now he's not gonna actually say it, or he might, right? Via the chariot, right? Because this is when the Lord said, this is my beloved son, hear him." That was an actual chariot nearby hovering, and there was a loudspeaker per se that said these things. Right? It wasn't the Lord Himself; it was one of His agents. Right? Which is how the Lord speaks. Right? Via His agents. Right? So that in that day, right, it's talking about the actual day. Right? The Lord's gonna hide. He's not gonna respond. Right? Because scriptures say that when I called, you did not answer. Right? Instead, right, Jake waxed worse and worse. Right? Micah chapter 3 and verse 5. Thus saith the Lord against the prophets that cause to wander to my people. Ka Amar Yahweh al Hanabaya Ayim Hama Thayim. That word Thaya means to wander. Atha Amya, which says that draw out with their teeth and cry peace, and which is not given upon their mouths. Let's look at the blue letter because that Safari is kind of off sometimes. Micah chapter 3 and 5. Which says that so it says that bite with upon their teeth and cry peace, and which do not put it upon their mouths, right? And that's on point because, right, Song of Solomon, Isaiah, what is that, 56? Let's get that real quick. Isaiah 55 and 1. Ho, everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the waters, And he that hath no money, come ye buy and eat. There's my lesson for this week for a camp. Yeah, come buy wine and milk without money, without price, right? Which is talking about this truth, right? You have the milk, you have the water, right? You have the meat, which is the deep understanding, right? Into the prophetic, into the right, the breakdowns, right? The more diverse doctrines, right? But you have right, the principles, which are the fundamentals. You got the water, right? The milk, so on and so forth, right? Honey is compared to understanding, and wine is doctrine, right? So on and so forth, right? So it says, that bite upon their teeth and cry peace, in which they do not place it upon their mouth, right? Hanashakim bashan yaham wa kwara shalawam wa ashar la'ayathan al payaham, right? Meaning that bite with their teeth, right? For example, right? Someone asks you about something and you're not telling the truth, you're gonna bite your teeth. You're gonna cringe. Is what these false pastors are doing, right? Doing cringe-worthy things. They don't place it. They cry peace, right? Meaning they tell you, okay, you're in our camp. You're gonna be saved. There's no Jacob's trouble, right? Which is what Bishop Nathaniel's done before, and then he backpedals on those statements. They don't place the actual milk meat into their mouth, right? They give them the plastic. Uh, um, for example, you have these display cases, right? That you can buy for decorative purposes for your home, which are like it has like plastic fruits and right, and they just what they do, they just place it in front of them, but it's not the real thing, right? So Jake grabs it, tries to consume it, right? Not physically, but right, metaphorically, but it's not the real thing, right? They just show it, they display it in front of them, right? They sort of tease them, right? And it says and separate, right, upon them and separate them. Let's go to the blue letter. And prepare against them war or battle. Wa kodash wa al yawa ma lechama. Right, that word kodash means holy, but it also means to separate. In this case, to prepare against them battle. Right. So instead of edifying, right, they're preparing doctrines of confusion against them in order to war against their mind, to bring them into right more wacky tacky doctrines, right, like the hell doctrine, or bring them back to that right false understanding that they were in these churches, right? So they're not actually preparing the truth, putting the actual breakdowns in their mouth. They're doing the opposite. Instead of bringing them right assurance, right, they're bringing them right back into like it says, I believe that's the book of Saint Peter. They're bringing them back into obscurity, right, back into a type of bondage, right? You have to be part of our camp. You can't if you can't marry someone outside the truth. You can't do this. You can't do that. When the Lord said we have a liberty in Hamashiach, but use not your liberty as a cloak for maliciousness, right? So it says Micah 3:6, for so unto the night it will be unto you, according to the vision, lakan layala, lakam ma chazawan, meaning, right, when shit actually hits the fan, right, the things that we spoke about are gonna happen, right? Because we are in a sort of a spiritual nighttime, right? Because the rulers of the darkness of this world are in control, right? The Lord said, "Wait upon me," right? But we're hitting the 12th hour, right? When that change is coming, right? Which is why Yahushua is known as the morning star, because it's gonna be that change. He's gonna bring change, right? So it says, "And it will be dark unto you," right? Let's go to the blue letter. It says, "And it will be dark unto you uh, to divine," right? Because you have right, you have divination on the left hand side, right, which is actual, right, witchcraft. Then, but this word quasam is it means to produce an omen, right? Then you have what is it that nachash? It means to observe an omen. For example, you see like a weather pattern. It looks like rain is coming, right? You're observing an omen. When you right, you have particular newscasters that tell you about the weather that is coming. That's a form of quasam, but it's not necessarily wicked, right? Because or you have what's called um, particular plays, right, where they have objects that they use to bring about a message, which is that's what the prophets have done in times past, right? The seers of old, right? So that weather, predicting the weather, that is kind of off, right? Because the scriptures say to right, to not worry, not think about tomorrow, because sufficient is the current the day of, is the current day. All right, sufficient is the evil thereof, right? That's what Yahushua said. It also says in the book of James, "Say not this, we'll do this and that tomorrow, but Lord willing," right? Which kind of goes with that law, right? To not take heed to prognosticators, right? Which that weather, predicting the weather, is a form of prognostication, right? So there's a difference when you read um, things like, right, you shall not have a vision, you shall not divine, which is that's grossly translated because the prophets never performed divination, right? They did what's called um, I forgot the actual term for it, but it's something to the effect of it'll come to me eventually. So this is what's coming when all hell breaks loose, right? We're no longer going to be out there. We're no longer going to be using, right, similitudes to explain the scriptures, right? Um, I believe it's called improvised something to that effect, right? So we're not going to be out there forever, right? We're not going to be sitting out there when the chipping station's set up and all hell's breaking loose, warning the remnant. So it says, and will go down the sun upon the prophets, which reads, Wa ba'a hashamash al ha nabayayim, meaning the understanding is going to be cut off, right? Because Esau ultimately is going to, Esau Edom is going to cut off the internet, right? You're no longer going to, right, be able to turn on your radio station and know what's going on the other side of the world, right? You're not going to even be able to enter another city because you're going to have checkpoints, you're going to have so on and so forth, right? Some of you Jakes are going to be carried off into internment camps. It says, it will be darkened upon them the day. Wa Qadar al Yaham Hayawam. The word Qadar means to be dark or swarthy, which is another way to say black, right? Because we already see what's coming, right, down the line, right? So we're enlightened. But that day, which 2/3, right? They think they're in right in prosperity, right? Their lights are going to be put out, right? The darkness, that darkness is going to overtake them, right? They're going to be caught unawares, right? Like the parable Yahweh said, he said, right, these things will come upon you as a snare upon the earth. Micah chapter 3 and verse 7, and would be ashamed as the seers. And it says, and will be ashamed the diviners, because that word kapar means to be attentive to something, but it speaks of to blush, to be ashamed, to be abased. Let's look at it. To blush, disappointed, right? To be disappointed. So it says, Wabashwa ha chazayim wa chaparwa ha kwasayim. Meaning the diviners will be ashamed. The seers should be ashamed. The diviners will be disappointed. And will be disappointed, the diviners. Right? Now this is talking about on the left hand side. Right? These particular heathens that, call upon these spirits, right? They're not going to receive a response because we're going to be in the time when all these things, all hell breaks loose. They're not going to receive an answer, right? because right, Yahweh Shai is going to return. All right, it's not going to be the time of them performing more councils. Right, that time is going to be. There's a time when that's going to be cut off, and it says, and will cover upon their lips all of them, because there's no answer from God. Right, because ultimately on the left hand side, right, the Lord is letting them work, right, until the time comes when, right, they only have but so long, because when Yahweh Shai returns, right, remember he's been given all strength, power, dominion. So when he returns, the left hand side is going to, right, be vanquished, right. It's like when you have like, for example, X-Men, right? There's a time when, right, their devices they're not able to perform their works, right? Their devices. You have particular plots in some of the X-Men movies where they weren't able to use their powers no more. So right on the left hand side, these which is Esau's priesthood of his Magi's and all things on the left hand side. They know that time is coming, right? When they're not going to be able, right, to sacrifice and perform these things on the left hand side. Which is why, right, you got these conflicts and all these things happening, right? Because they know, right, that the remnant waking up is as that sign, right, which will be spoken against, just like Yahweh Shai, right, would be for the rise and the fall of many. The remnant is also as well. For the rise and the fall of many, the fall of the nations, the rise of the remnant, the fall of 2/3, which is the majority of the nation of Israel. So this is Strong's H5844, Ita. It's another way to say cover, right? Just like Tazapan or Kasa, which is why you have these left hand spirits. They're showing themselves because they know that basically they know that we're here. They know that the Lord is going to, right, glorify the remnant. They're getting desperate, right? Well, you know that the the when you right when you know the that something is coming, right? Something bigger than you. You start to get worried. And that's really what's happening. Esau's getting desperate. The nations, right? If they get together, which they're not going to get together, right? Because they're proud. They're the Lord put that spirit of pride on them. They would get together, right? Maybe they would prosper, but the Lord didn't make it that way, right? It's just common sense. There's gonna be a guy. There's always gonna be a guy on top, and that guy on top, there's gonna be others coming for that guy, and Satan. There's gonna be division, right? It was never meant to be plus and plus. There's always, right. There's two sides to every coin, right? It's never right. One thing. It's one thing or the other, right? It's never night. It's night, day. There's balance to everything, right? If you can receive it, right? So they're gonna cover their lips, right? Because ultimately, right, they're giving themselves away, right? For example, Esau uses media to talk to his people. Look at the newspapers, publications. The heathens do that as well, right? And it's really right. It's just giving us more material, right? It's justifying us even more when you come up against this truth. When you call us right a hate group, when we're not a hate group, right? We are a truth group, right? So so it says will cover upon their lips all of them because there is no answer from God. Wa itawa al shapam kalam kaya ayan ma aina alahayim. Salakia. So this actually works to our advantage, right? The fact that we see these events happening, right? Calling out these devices, right? And ever since that that thing was brought out, right? That was the beginning of right these deceptive tactics going out. Which really, if you have right the spirit, if you have the spiritual your spiritual lenses on, you're gonna see exactly what's going on. Micah 3:8, and nevertheless, I am filled with the strength of the Spirit of the Lord, says, Wa awalam anakia mala'athaya kach atha Yahweh, and judgment and might to reveal unto Jacob his transgression and unto Israel his sins. This is what the prophet Micah said. He said, nevertheless, I am filled with the strength of the Spirit of the Lord, right, which we're renewed every day, right, when we go through particular situations, right, we're only given more assurance, right, the fact that, right, these things, this is a time that has not been, this isn't something out of, this is something out of the ordinary, right? So that's the reassurance that we know that right there something is amiss, right? That something greater is coming, right? But that's just part of going through the motions. You got to go through the motions, right? You got to have what you call labor pains, growing pains, because without that, you don't have right a form of you don't have a form of strength. You're not strengthened. You're not hardened, right? So it says, Wa mashapat, wa gabara, laha gayad, la yaikwab, pashai wa la yasha'ala, khata'ath wa, which that's our charge, right? To reveal, right, our people their transgression and their sins. The word khata'ah means meaning sin. It means literally means to miss, right? Or to go off, right? Which is that common phrase that we use here in this truth. Micah 3:9. And it's by the Spirit of the Lord that we can go into things like the Hebrew, the Greek, right? Right. Thanks to our elders as well, right? First and foremost, thanks to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? Wa Rakakwadash, right? Micah 3 and 9. Hear now this, heads of the house of Jacob and judges of the house of Israel, who abhor judgment, and to all that is upright they make perverse. Shemai wa na'a za'ath ra'ashia bayath yaikwab wa kwatazayanya bayath yasha'ala hama thayabium mashapat wa atha kal hayashara ya aikwashwa. The word aikwash means to make crooked or perverse, to pervert. Sometimes you read it as aikwash or aikwal, right? Which is what Esau wants us to do. Like I said before, he doesn't want us to be ya aikwab, meaning he is the heel, he is the end, right? Or he is a supplanter, or Yasha'Allah, he's the Prince of God. He wants us to be Ya Aikwal. He is perverted. Ya meaning he, Aikwal meaning to pervert. Micah 3 and 10. Who built Zion upon blood and Jerusalem upon unrighteousness? Banata Yawan Badamyam Wa Yerushalayim Ba'Ilah. Verse 11. Her heads upon bribery they judge, and her priest upon a price they they uh, they give a ruling or they direct. Ra'ashia ba shechad ya shapatwa wa kanya ba machyar. Machar meaning price. Yarawa meaning to direct or to give direction. Shechad meaning a bribery, right? Or if you go into the Aramaic, it just means witness, right? So it says, and their prophets upon silver, they provide an omen, and against the Lord and upon the Lord they lean upon, to say, is not the Lord in our midst? That will not enter upon us evil. Which it says, wa nabaya aya ba kasab ya kosamwa wa al Yahweh ya shayan wa la amar hala Yahweh ba korab nawa la taba'a al yanawa raya. Verse 12. For so upon their doings Zion shall be a field that shall be plowed, and Jerusalem shall be swept away. To which will become swept away, and the mount of the house of the high places, uh, which is in the forest. Lakan ba galal kam tazayawan shada thacharash wa Yerushalayim ayayan thahaya wahar habayath labamath ya'ar, meaning forest. Let's look at that word, ayayan, because that's what the Lord is going to do. He's going to destroy 2/3, right? Like Scripture say, 2/3 will be as hay, as and stubble for the fire, right? Micah chapter 3 and verse 12. So that word is ayayan. The root word is iwa, meaning to overturn, to bring to ruin, right? To make crooked. Or salakia, to bend, to curve, to twist, right? So with that is Micah chapter 3 going into the Hebrew. Lord willing, you ratified. And as always, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kodash. Double honors to your elders and apostles, great millstone. Kwame Yasha'Allah, Abad Babal, Shalom.